My number one guest I wanted on the show this year is this couple. It's very unique in life that you get a chance to talk to human beings who have done things that basically no other human beings have ever done before. He has ridden the biggest wave in the history of mankind. She is the brains and the security behind the operation. And frankly, as I look at their content, she has so many special things to share with you today about success and belief.
We're all born pure potential. There's so many stories out there of people who have come from hell and created heaven.
It's really about choices and surrounding yourself with the right people and making really good plans and following the plan, actually putting that pen to paper, see it, focus on it, know it with all your heart, and go for it.
Do I have it right that when you were 35, you kind of quit the dream?
Well, when it comes to surfing, your career is pretty much over at like 30, 35 usually.
Yeah.
I was so grateful that I'd been able to surf up until that point. And I thought to myself, man, I should be so grateful. I can go do a 9 to 5. I can go do whatever it takes to keep putting food on the table besides surfing. And I did. I opened the store. This one particular morning, I looked out and my favorite wave was perfect. And I'm driving by it and I just got really depressed. And I really did give up on my dreams. I thought to myself, oh, how do I figure out how to keep surfing? I got to give surfing one more chance. I went to the store that morning, got out a piece of paper and wrote a business plan to keep surfing.
You have a dream. I think you have to start with some level of belief.
You know, there's so many components to breaking free. And I think that's what it is. It's like breaking free and having the confidence to be our authentic self. From the moment we are born, we become conditioned to fit in, but that's really not the case. You know, that's where society really wants us. So to break free, you have to be able to be uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable to go against what society is telling you need to do. And it can be scary, so you also have to be fearless. If we can be okay with being uncomfortable and fearlessly go into something with our authentic self, and when you are your authentic self, you don't give up. Because if you're really doing something authentically, you just keep going until you make it happen.
There are people that give great speeches or write great books. Then there are people who actually live this stuff and do it. And that's these two. So hey guys, are you frustrated with where you're at right now? Maybe stunted in your progress? Well, if you are, I want to recommend a place for you to go called Growth Day. growthday.com/ed. It is the #1 personal development app on the planet. It's got all kinds of high performance techniques in there, courses, accountability, journaling, live speeches from some of the top influencers in the world, including me. It's an overall environment to change your life. growthday.com/ed. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. So I was just telling them off camera, my #1 guest I wanted on the show this year is this couple. And the reason is it's very unique in life that you get a chance to talk to human beings who have done things that basically no other human beings have ever done before, or at least very, very few. And in their case, that is 100% true. And also their show's awesome. I've been watching the show 100-Foot Wave. It's coming up on its 3rd season now on HBO Max. But here's the deal, everybody. He has ridden the biggest wave in the history of mankind. She is the brains and the security behind the operation. And frankly, as I look at their content, she has so many special things to share with you today about success and belief. And I just think they're two of the most unique, remarkable people in the world, coming to you today from Italy on their way to Switzerland. Garrett and Nicole McNamara, thank you for being here today.
It's an honor, and we're really excited. So thank you for the invitation.
Well, I've never had such a powerful, good intro. Thank you. That made me
you're
feel
hired.
Really special.
Well, it's actually true. It's actually true. So guys, I just want to picture this. Picture like an 85. We'll put it on the YouTube version. Picture like an 85, 90-foot wave, and this man has ridden it. It's just unbelievable to me what they do with their life. But as I was diving into you guys, I'm going to be honest with you, Garrett. I'm watching a lot of the things Nicole says, and I'm writing them down a little bit more. I mean, what you do blows my mind, right? But when I started listening to your wife, I'm like, oh my gosh, she has a career like in my industry as well. So to do something great with your life, no matter what it is, all of you listening to this today, if you have a dream, I think you have to start with some level of belief. And Nicole, I was watching this thing you said, if you could just give me your opinion about this, but you're talking about how really the world today is trying to sort of rob us almost of trying to live our authentic self and our dreams. I literally played it 3 times in a row, and then I played it for my daughter. So talk a little bit just about belief and how that's the foundation to do anything like what you guys are doing.
There's so many components to breaking free. And I think that's what it is. It's like breaking free and having the confidence to be our authentic self, to tap back into our authentic selves. Because from the moment we are born, we become conditioned to fit into society. Like, oh, you have to do this to succeed. You have to do this to get good grades. You have to do this for people to like you. But that's really not the case, because then you're just going to be the cookie cutter, fit in the box. And, that's where society really wants us. So to break free, you have to have the courage. And what I've realized is you have to be able to be uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable to go against what society is telling you need to do. And it can be scary. So you also have to be fearless, because the way we're kept small is by our fear of not being loved, fear of not succeeding, fear of failing. So if we can be okay with being uncomfortable and fearlessly go into something with our authentic self, and when you are your authentic self, you don't give up. Because if you're really doing something authentically, you just keep going until you make it happen.
But it's actually natural and effortless ease.
Yeah. And I mean, we were in a position where it's like, when you know it in your bones, no matter how many people tell you it's not possible, you still know in your bones that it is possible. So you really have to be
committed.
Yeah, you just have to, they either jump on the boat or they stay on shore
or get left in the wake.
And that's the thing. It's really also surrounding yourself with people who believe in you. If you are around somebody that says, oh, that's not possible, or that's too hard, they are not part of your success or support team. And the only way you're going to succeed is if you are completely surrounded with people that believe everything is possible and believe in you.
It's so good. You do things though that like no one has ever done, Garrett. Like, so we're talking about fear. Nicole mentions fear. I'm just curious. I look at these videos of you, brother, and I'm just like, what? Like, I'm in a 6-foot wave, body surfing, and my heart rate's like 150. This man's on 80-plus-foot waves. Do you still get scared, or do you rely on your preparation and what Nicole's doing behind the scenes, or is it like, oh my gosh, I'm living my dream, I'm exhilarated, or are you afraid when you're catching a wave like that? Like, what's going on in your body and your biochemistry and your mind?
Well, before 2016, I didn't have fear at all. And since then, since I had so much pain from my shoulder, I'm choosing to be afraid. Fear is something I feel we choose. We manufacture in our mind when we think about the past or the future, and we're not in the moment, fully enjoying the moment, doing our best in the moment. And since I had this bad injury, I've been choosing to go back into the pain that I experienced for so long. And I also haven't gotten myself physically prepared to where I used to be. So I'm choosing to be. I haven't rode very many giant waves. I have had a few, and I've had a few major wipeouts on giant waves, and I was afraid I wasn't going to enjoy it anymore. And I still enjoy getting pounded. I still enjoy the underwater ride. I've just been a lot more, what would I say, patient, a lot more patience now.
Do I have it right that when you were 35, you kind of quit the dream? Like,
yes.
Tell me if I'm wrong about this. About, that age where, to be honest with you, most people quit their dream. when they're in their 20s, they're going to try really hard at whatever it is, their business, their music, whatever it is. And then enough rejection or enough fear, and in your case, you can describe whatever it was. And so you kind of check out and go get a surf shop for a few years, right? So
Yes.
what was that like? And then what was the switch to go, nope, I'm going to be back in this when the end of my life's over, I maxed it out type life? Evidently you chose, both of you.
Well, when it comes to surfing, your career is pretty much over at like 30, 35 usually.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful that I'd been able to surf up until that point. And I thought to myself, man, I should be so grateful. I can go do a 9 to 5. I can go do whatever it takes to keep putting food on the table besides surfing, and, do what you're supposed to do. And I did. I opened the store. I was driving to the store one morning. Actually, every morning I was driving to the store, but this one particular morning I looked out and my favorite wave was perfect, and I'm driving by it and I just got really depressed. And I really did give up on my dreams and open that store. And driving by as I was getting depressed, I thought to myself, oh, how do I figure out how to keep surfing? I got to give surfing one more chance. And I went to the store that morning, got out a piece of paper and wrote a business plan to keep surfing.
What was in the business plan?
Well, the two things that I had to do was win the Eddie Cow, which was in my backyard. I lived closer than everybody to the actual event location, and win the Jaws contest. And then I train and eat perfect and manifest. And I put that business plan on the refrigerator, in my car, and on the bathroom mirror. So every day, all day, I looked at it. Anything that I wasn't doing that wasn't on the plan took me further from accomplishing the goal. So I really just focused on what was on that paper all day, every day.
Nicole, I heard you talk about manifesting before too. Like, it's one of, like, in my space, it's a pretty overused term, right? And misunderstood probably by most people. So what does it mean? Like, obviously you're part of the planning process, the security, the safety. He's out there doing his thing. There's a dream or a goal. You go, okay, we're going to go to Nazare and there's going to be this big wave or whatever it is. What is manifesting like for you? When someone says that, what's it mean to you?
It's creating your own reality. It's taking control of your life. And I think if we all were taught in school, in kindergarten, that we were 100%, each and every one of us, pure potential, we can create anything we want. Everything we think, we are creating. Every thought is creating our reality. And that's really essentially manifestation. So when you can know that in every cell of your being as a truth, because that's the thing, you have to believe it to be true. People can tell you it a million times, but unless you truly believe that you are pure potential and every thought creates your reality, it's not, it's not going to work. But if you do, you're going to see your life unfold magically in front of you. So
the crazy thing for me is somehow I naturally started doing it without being told that it was a thing or knowing it was a thing. And I want to say, I don't know, around 25, 30, saw the movie The Secret. Remember that movie back? I don't know when it came out, when I finally got to see it. And I was just like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing. It worked. This is a real thing. This is a thing. And so I just kept doing it even more.
Wow. I told you all, it's going to be mind-blowing. I like, just so you all know, I'll give you a little inside scoop. We had major technical issues today, and I wanted to do this so badly with these guys because, listen, there are people that give great speeches or write great books, and there's so much value in that. Then there are people who actually live this stuff and do it. Like, it's who they actually are. And that's these two. So, hey guys, as you know, I've partnered up with my good friend Brennan Bouchard, who's created the greatest personal development system that has ever been designed, called Growth Day. There's everything from journaling to accountability programs, live messages every Monday from myself and other influencers. There's an opportunity for you to get courses that would cost thousands of dollars completely for free. It's incredible. Go to growthday.com/ed and check it out. I wanted to ask you, because Nicole, you're talking about, like getting culture conditions us to conform. right? To conform. And I actually given this talk right now where I talk about, I think it starts when you're a kid, when you're taught to color within the lines in your coloring books.
Yeah.
And I think most of us are conditioned by the time we're 6, 8, 9 years old to color our life within the lines. Don't go outside the lines. You're a bad boy. You're a bad girl. That's where all the danger is.
Ooh.
And it seems to me the people that live the most blissful existences are willing to color outside the lines. And I'm not just saying this. When I was writing that talk, I thought of 3 or 4 people I was familiar with, and Garrett and Nicole, you were a couple of them. But Nicole, I wanted to ask you about risk, because you have a young family. And I think one of the things that holds us back is also our partner in our life justifiably being afraid of risk. If you've got a job right now and let's say the wife has a dream to start a business, but she says, honey, I want to mortgage the house and I want to open up that restaurant or that barber shop or whatever it is. There's a huge risk, because it's one thing when you're single and young, at one time when Garrett was doing this, right? But it's different when you have a family. Your risk is the loss of life for your spouse. So how do you deal as the partner with the risk element of it?
I mean, I think this goes into what I was mentioning a moment ago, is that it's really, truly all who we surround ourselves with. And it's that fear, because it's actually not a risk, it's a fear. It's a fear that you're not going to succeed. It's not a risk. So if we could live without fear, there's really no risk.
Is some of the fear, Nicole, let me ask you, I want to ask you about that. Let's go back and forth on this point, both of you. Is some fear healthy though? So do you truly have no fear, or is some fear cause you to prepare? Does some fear cause you to mitigate the risks? Or maybe to plan more strongly? Or do you think that's some different emotion than fear compelling you to do it?
No, I think fear is a key component in being able to succeed. Because when the fear arises, you just have to be aware of it and be able to look at it. Okay, like what am I actually really afraid of? Like with him riding big waves, am I really afraid that it's that he's gonna not come home? Or like what is the fear? Or you wanting to ride a big wave? Like I know for myself, I just really like to breathe. That's why I'm not going to go surf a gigantic wave.
Right.
You know, so yeah, you just have to really sit with the fear. Like the practical example you give of a wife wanting to start this business and it being scary, you know, it being a risk. It's like, okay, so you're afraid you're going to fail. Okay, if I do fail, what's going to happen? Are we going to really truly end up on the streets, or will we figure it out? Because we're a partnership and we support each other, and that's what we do. If we end up failing, we figure it out. You know, our children won't starve, but that goes into the manifestation. You know, it's all interconnected, and it's this web. And once you get caught in the web of fear and risk and, you know, trying to stay inside the lines, it's going to keep you trapped. It's a web. So how do you get yourself out and focus on what you do want to happen? And focusing on what will happen if you do succeed. Like, what if you just focus on succeeding?
That's a really interesting point. Like, what if you actually focus on the success part of it? I know you're right. I like the way you say it better than me. You know, when my dad passed away a few years ago, and I've been the blessing, a very good friend of mine's mom passed away last night, actually. And we were talking this morning about this. At the end of life, I don't think you like regret the crashes in the wave. I don't think you regret the times you failed. I do know that at the end of my dad's life, who lived a very good life, by the way, but at the end when we were talking about regrets, I wish I'd have started a business when I had the chance. I wish I'd have bought that rental property. You know, maybe we should have traveled a little bit more, you know? And so I think at the end of life, the regrets are by omission, the things you didn't do, not the things that you did and failed at necessarily. All right, Garrett, I've always wanted to ask you this, so here we go. And I know everyone wants to know this. What's it feel like, man? When you catch,
oh my goodness.
What does it feel like? Take us into, you catch the perfect wave, the big wave. What is going on in your soul when that happens?
Well, if you're in alignment and everything's lining up and what you've been focusing on for so long comes to you and you're about to ride it. It's just following your heart and not thinking, and it's spiritual, it's blissful, it's so beautiful, and it's overwhelming with endorphins and dopamine at the end. It is like being in heaven. You come out and it's just like the best feeling ever, and then you want that feeling again. And it's funny, you get the best ride of your life and all this, and you want another one.
What has to happen in you for it to be the best ride? Is it the absence of thought? Is it being fully present? What is it that happens in you that makes you capable of doing that where I can't or wouldn't, at least right now?
Well, the fully present part and just feeling your way through it is a big part of it, but the physical and emotional come through putting it all on the line, going as deep as possible to where if you don't make it, this wave is going to eat you, and somehow threading the needle and just getting right into the barrel. And then when you're in the barrel, it doesn't seem like you're going to make it, but you have to keep processing the positive. I'm making it no matter how. Like, I can describe one barrel, that Jaws barrel. I came down, turned away from the wave so I could get deeper, and then turned under the lip. And right when I go under the lip, the wave hit me 3 times, just kind of kissed me like a little spray of the lip hit and blinded me. So now I pull into the barrel and I can't see, I'm blind, and I'm feeling myself in this massive cavern, so much power, so much energy. And I'm telling myself, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. And I'm starting to get sucked up the face. And I could feel myself about to fall backwards. And I feel the wave backdraft. It sucks. And then right when I was about to fall, it kind of goes silent for a second. The backdraft stopped. And then this hurricane force wind comes from behind. It's called the spit. The wave turns into a compression chamber. First, it pulls back, and then it explodes. And right when I was about to fall, the spit, the force of the wind, picked me up like a hurricane and threw me out in front of the wave. And I landed out, and then I look up, and I'm, oh my God, thank you, God. And but that was the most overwhelming, spiritual, beautiful moment of my surfing career.
Is that the one that got you to shut the shop down?
Yes, we won the event the year before, but that was solidified it. Yes, that really put the feather in my cap that I was somebody in the surfing world.
Brother, doing the show a long time. That's one of my favorite moments ever right there. It's interesting in a very different way. As I was hearing you describe that, to be honest with you, I was thinking about like being an entrepreneur and starting my business, and points in time where I had to tell myself, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And other points in times where I'm like, thank you, God, you carried me through this part of it and I landed on my feet. I'm not exactly sure how that all happened, but it sure is beautiful. It's interesting. I want to ask you another question about that. I used to be a part of a group that sponsored Carl Edwards. He was a NASCAR driver many years ago, very successful one. I don't know if you remember Carl.
Didn't I meet him?
Yeah, successful dude. And I had asked him one time, like, what's the part of racing that most people would know about? And the first thing he says, well, one, don't look at the wall. And he said, I mean it, because if you actually look at the wall, you gravitate towards it, to Nicole's point earlier about thoughts, right? The other thing he said was, and I never thought about it before, but I wanted to ask you, he said, probably the scariest moment is there's a crash in front of you, and all there is smoke, and you know on the other end of that crash, there could be 5, 10, 20 cars, and you're doing 150 right through the smoke, and you don't know what's on the other side of it. Ooh. And you could be killed on the other side of that smoke. And when I watched a video of you last night, and I know even the video doesn't do it justice. You guys, he looks like a speck, like he looks like a mouse on Mount Everest at the size of this wave. I mean, the grandeur of it. Is there an element of that for you, Garrett, where you're just like, I have to embrace the unknown and I'm just going to sort of figure it out as I go? I can't know everything on what's on the other side of that smoke. or on the other side of that break? Is there a part of you that's built this muscle of like, you know what, I don't know and I'm going anyway?
Yeah, that's when preparation comes in, and your team, and anything that I've accomplished was always, I give a lot, half of the credit to my team. And coming down a wave and not seeing it perfect and not knowing if you're actually going to be able to make it. It's kind of, for me, more exhilarating and a little more fun because it's more challenging and you don't really know what you're going to get. You're going to expect on the other side. And I always did love the underwater rides. I always loved getting pounded. So I would do my best to put myself in the right spot, do my best to make my waves. But if I wasn't going to make it, I always really enjoyed it as well.
Gosh, guys, I'm blown away by you. I'm blown away by you. Nicole, what's been the scariest moment?
In our surfing career?
In anything. No, it could be whatever just came to your mind.
Wave.
No, I mean, definitely from season 2, we lost my brother for several minutes, which felt like a very long time. And it was the first time we ever lost somebody. I mean, he was found, thank God. But there was that moment where he was lost. And it's like, you can't call the Coast Guard. It's not like, hey, can you find my brother? He's missing.
He's under waves.
Yeah, just this moment. And then Garrett's like, where is he? And I'm like, he's nowhere. You know, like, what do you do in that instance except surrender? And wow. You know, it's funny because the other scariest moment was the last birth of our child, Faye. You know, we got really sick. I got COVID and 9 months pregnant, and my liver shut down, and they were saying she could be stillborn. And I mean, that's obviously super scary. But in both those situations, with my brother lost at sea and you know, Faye not knowing what would happen when she was born, you know, it's that surrender. It's kind of what you guys were just talking about, the surrender to the unknown. You know, if we would have panicked with CJ or panicked with the birth of the baby, would that have changed the outcome? Would that have helped the outcome? No. So it's like surrendering to the unknown, knowing that you've done everything you could possibly do and have to sit in that moment and be okay with how it's going to play out, you know, because panic and stress is just adding to the situation. It's not helpful. So what do you do in those moments of complete, you know, loss of control? Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're at an absolute loss of control.
I'm out the back and I'm just visualizing, okay, he's got his flotation on. Okay, he's going to pop up sooner or later. We're going to find him. If he's passed out, we can bring him back. And then I process a negative thought, which I usually don't. And I thought, okay, I've always shared with people that these waves are so powerful that they can strip you naked with one lip on the head, could rip your wetsuit off and all your flotation. And I kind of visualized that for a second, like, oh my God, did that happen? And that was probably one of the scariest moments of my career, of not knowing where he was and no eyes on him.
If you listen to this show for a while, you've heard me and my guests talk a lot about how critical it is to have your wellness goals in order, especially lately with me. So you know how powerful visualization is. When you visualize yourself 1, 10, 30 years from now, you've achieved all your goals. Ask yourself this: am I healthy at that point? In your visions, of course you are. But like anything else, without a plan to get and remain healthy, you can't hit the goal. That's why I'm so thrilled to be partnering with Life Force. It's co-founded by my good friend Tony Robbins and Peter Diamandis. Life Force is a leader in proactive care. The Life Force membership includes everything you need to understand your wellness and help you make good decisions today that keep you on track in the future for your health. Listeners of my show get $250 when they first sign up for their membership by going to mylifeforce.com/ed. That's mylifeforce.com/ed. Take control of your wellness with Life Force and see what the healthiest version of you actually looks like and is capable of. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. What does it feel like, Garrett, when you crash in a big wave like that? What happens to you, and what are you doing? Are you trying to stay? I'll let you tell me. I was going to say stay calm, but what do I know?
Well, every wipeout is so different, but usually they're super powerful, and it's like Mike Tyson just punching you underwater, and then it's like a washing machine on spin cycle with King Kong shaking up and down, and then you come up so you're getting pounded, you pull your inflation, you're coming up, and you're hoping there's not another wave. You're hoping you get your lips out before the next wave comes. You just get your lips up, and all this foam's coming in, and you're barely getting a breath, and rah, another one rolls over you. And yeah, and that can happen over and over and over repeatedly. Usually you get like 2 or 3, maybe 4, and then your partners come and get you with the jet ski. But sometimes you pop up and they're right there. But usually it takes at least a second one because they get eyes on you when you pop up. And then they're like, okay, you got to calculate where he's going to pop up next and be right on the side of him when he pops up. So there's no time to spare in between waves.
How dangerous are those guys? I always wanted to ask you this. Nicole, you're doing all those safety stuff. So how dangerous, because the video is always like you surfing the wave. But then once in a while, they'll show the guy on the Sea-Doo pulling you out there. And I'm like, even though he's on a Sea-Doo, that looks pretty friggin' gnarly to me too. Like, is that a dangerous, I mean, it sounds naive, but like they're also in peril as well, aren't they? Those guys.
I don't know who you've been tow surfing with, but we use Yamahas.
Okay, there we go. Let's slide that in there. Sorry, Yamahas.
No, I'm joking. I love it.
Very good, brother. But are they in danger too, Nicole? Those guys, or because they're on machines, they're
yeah,
they are, right?
Actually, some of the craziest situations I've seen involves the jet skis.
What do you think your kids are learning from you two? Like, are you consciously doing something different with your children and the way you raise them or teach them compared? I mean, it's not a normal upbringing. I mean, you travel a lot. Like, what are you trying to instill in them for their lives?
We feel like we're giving them freedom to be who they are. And at times we second guess ourselves. Are we doing the right things? And we were at this hotel the other night by chance because I got a flat tire on a car. That's a whole nother story. And the lady who was working at the hotel, very nice lady, she said, I've been here for over 10 years. I've never seen children play together like your kids do. And I've never seen such loving, caring children towards each other. And that really made me go, okay, we are doing the right things.
I mean, we're definitely living outside of the norm when it comes to how we're raising our children, for sure. But one of the things that is really important to me is emotional intelligence and being able for them to be able to feel and not stopped from feeling, and then learning how to identify those feelings and then how to move through those feelings. You know, there's a lot of times our middle child, she's fire. She has a lot of feelings. She's very loving, but at the same time, she can be extremely fierce and she gets big, big feelings. And, you know, the newest thing I've been trying is like, hey, feelings are like clouds. They pass by. So you're feeling it right now, but in a little bit, that cloud's going to move and there's going to be a new cloud. So don't get stuck on that one cloud because so many more are going to come. So you just enjoy the feeling and it's going to pass. Even if it's not a good feeling, it's going to pass. Like just getting them, you know, just conscious of their feelings. But the other thing is, you know, there's all this for Beryl, especially the oldest with the surfing, you know, always, it's all day long. We're going surfing. Oh, Beryl working on his surfing, this and that. We got to go train. They come home. Oh, Beryl did this. And I just look at him, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm like, did you do something kind today? Did you give somebody a compliment?
Did you help somebody?
Did you help someone? You know, it's for me, it's for them. How are they going to show up in the world and how are they going to share their gifts with the world?
For me, it was really challenging because it's the use your words and not much
control. We're not controlling our kids.
No, not much consequence. And the consequence that there are there, I mean, if we were more, if we're not real consistent always with the type of consequence. If we were more consistent with the consequence, the way that we give them consequence, it worked really well. But we're soft and tend to fold when they come on.
We're not perfect parents.
Yeah, but for me, with the use your words was super challenging. Now I'm 100% behind it, and when he's crying for no reason, let him cry. Let him have his feeling. And before it's like, come on, that's not a reason. I'll give you a reason to cry. Old school. And then just really consequences. I mean, if it's really soft and loving and kind and okay, go sit over there. That's your spot for the next 5 minutes. You can't move. Okay. But being mean and using, I don't know how to explain it. Like with your dad, I finally shifted. It took me a long time, and I finally shifted to where I just want to love them. When they're getting mad, I just want to give them love. When they're upset, I just want to give them love. When they're doing something wrong, I just want to give them love. And it took me a long time to shift to that. But I know 100%, without a doubt, with all of my heart and all of my being, that that's what we need to be doing for our children. And that's how we need to show up as parents. Just love them always.
And that's us. It's instead of reacting to our children, we need to respond to our children.
Yeah.
That's damn life lesson. When you're just saying that about the meanness, my son turned professional golfer yesterday. I got to caddy for him in his first tournament.
Yeah,
and my daughter,
congratulations.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to compete with him. My back's killing me from carrying his bag, but that's another story. But I have to tell you, they're both in their 20s now. And if you go to the moments I regret as a dad, it was the moments that Garrett described that he knows is wrong. The ones I was just, I reacted because I'm a human. I reacted out of my own weaknesses and insecurities or whatever. And the other, and this is just life. It's not even kids. Moments of my life I regret are usually reactions and not responses. And the other one was being mean. When I was mean in my rebuke. And that's not just with my kids, that's in my life. Garrett, you're a unique dude in the sense that you strike me as this very spiritual, Zen, kind of the secret dude, but then you're like a psycho, intense dude too. And you're not young. You're 50. You're not young in your sport, rather. He's 56 years old. He didn't want to admit it.
And I got 50 more years.
50 more. That's right. Listen to my show. You can get 60 with all the longevity guys on here. But I'm curious, like, are you, and Nicole, you can speak to it, both of you. I keep reading like, but he wants to do more. He wants to do more. He wants to do more. Like he's got this thing that keeps telling him to, I think you have the thing of people I admire, Garrett. You're addicted to the expansion of your being is what I like to say. And I'm just wondering what that shows up like. Is that true? And what's that going to look like now that you're 56? Are we going to see you on some big wave at 63 or like, what are you going to be doing?
Yeah, if I'm up to it, I'll definitely be riding big waves when I'm 60, possibly longer, but I can still drive that jet ski all the way till my dying days, get in the mix. But, I've definitely got out of having to ride every wave and having to get the biggest wave and only going for the right reasons, only going if I feel in shape enough and I feel like I really just want to do it because I love it so much, and really going out there with more of a selfless approach and helping my friends accomplish their goals and dreams. And the only reason I feel any need, in lack of a better word, is to inspire people that everything's possible. That's, other than that, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I'm very content. I'm more patient. I could actually just hang out here in the mountains of Italy and be very happy. And it's funny, I say that and think that. And then once I jump back in the water, I'm like, how could I ever say that?
Hey, everyone, it's Ed Mylett. And if you know me, you know I'm always looking for ways to live healthier, have a little bit more energy, more vitality in my life. And so if you're like me in that way, I think I've got something exceptional for you, which is Armra Colostrum. This is just not any health trend. It's a breakthrough in natural wellness. Armra Colostrum is a superfood that's packed with over 400 bioactive nutrients. It's derived from sustainably sourced grass-fed cows right here in the USA. And since I started using Armor into my routine, I can tell you I've noticed some actual changes. One is my energy levels way up. My workouts feel stronger, and so is my recovery. Like, they're just more effective. And I got to tell you, there's even kind of a glow people are telling me to my skin. So we've worked a special offer for my audience. Receive 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra.com/Mylett to get 15% off your first order. That's tryarmra.com/Mylett. Join me and thousands of others who are making a real difference in their health. I read where you went through a little bout of depression. Do either one of you struggle with that? As great as your life is, sometimes I think people that feel things deeply. You know, like you were describing with your children. Either one of you struggle with, I don't know, mental health, wellness, depression, anything like that? And if you do, how do you deal with it?
I mean, like today I was extremely sad and I felt the weight of the world. It was almost like I could throw up because I felt just like this overwhelming sense of doom, which it doesn't happen to me often. I feel when I'm exhausted, you know, I'm more vulnerable to feeling that. But I wouldn't say it's depression. I think it's normal. We're humans. And there's peaks and there's valleys, and it's an awareness. And I do know I cannot speak on true depression or mental health because I think there's probably times that it's chemical, and I can't address that because mine is just life. It's being super empathic and feeling other people's feelings to the point where I could cry. But I've had to learn how to release things that aren't mine.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I also say sometimes when you're feeling helpless, be helpful. Like, I think even doing this today, like knowing you're contributing to people in the moment you're doing it, it's almost impossible to feel those emotions when you're in service of other people, right?
It's getting outside of yourself. You know,
can you feel those things, Nicole? Do you ever feel those things? Like, I would never ask you what it was, but like, do you know what made you feel that way today? Or do you sometimes just wake up and that particular day you feel the overwhelm of life?
No, there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm hyper aware
and sensitive to the world and everything going on in it, and how challenging the world is right now, and the low vibration that everybody's operating on.
Yeah. And I feel things are very intense right now in the world. There's a lot going on. So, and it's those moments that I lose sight of my center and allow myself to absorb other things that,
everything.
I watched Garrett, you do something the other day. Yeah, I watched close, and I loved how you did it. You made a post, which you don't do almost ever, but you basically made a post and said, hey, look, man, I don't even watch TV very much, and I'm not scrolling on my computer. And so I don't have all the answers or whatever, but I just want to express how I feel right now. And I thought that was really, really powerful, that, you know, that just expressing one's emotions and feelings about something. There's this need on social media in the world to like be right all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I know what's right and you're wrong, and I'm going to prove you wrong. And I just felt like that was a beautiful expression of yourself. But in your case, do you go into those dark places mentally, Garrett?
You know, I've only had a few encounters with depression, and I would say that it is real. It's super dark, and it's something that if somebody tells you they're actually depressed, really listen and really help them however you can. I think before the shop, there was a time when I had no money and had a million bills, and back then I could normally get on the TV and kind of let the world go and not let anything bother me, just kind of disappear into the TV. And it was this weird, uncomfortable crawling of the skin, just depressed, just like, and you're just crawling. You don't even want to live. I didn't process killing myself or anything, but I definitely didn't want to be on the planet anymore. I felt like, what? What's the point? And I think that a lot of that is also chemical from too much sugar, too much caffeine, too much alcohol, drugs, anything that changes your internal structure, anything that, I think it's a lot of it's chemical. But then there's the people that somehow have depression from, I mean, probably all chemical from the very beginning, and then it slowly creeps up on us, or it's already there from when we were born. Something happened at the hospital. But I definitely, speaking out of turn, I have no idea about all that. That's just what I feel. And there was not too long ago, I was in Nazareth, and Nicole wasn't with me, and I wasn't eating good, and I was, definitely making bad choices for what to eat, probably too much sugar, caffeine, blah, blah, blah. And I got depressed, and I felt just like I felt back in the day. And,
Wow.
and I was just like, it didn't feel good at all. And my life is so amazing. I'm probably like, normally I'm like, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Yeah. Me and Nicole, we're the luckiest people. We are literally the luckiest people in the world. We literally believe that, but we also believe that everybody can be the luckiest people in the world. We're not the only ones. We all can be. It's a choice. And I was all of a sudden depressed. Like, come on, what's going on here? And I didn't want to get out of bed, and I was doing a shoot with my friend, and I was just all like, it was just like, and it was really bad. And I got out of there and got busy, and I got out of bed, started doing things, felt better. But then I went back into the house and started feeling weird again. It was like 2 or 3 days of this weird, uncomfortable. And what I've heard, like a heroin addict or an opioid addict, when they're getting off of that, they say their skin's crawling or whatever. I've just heard of how it feels. I don't actually know how it feels, but my depression felt like what they described.
Wow. That surprises me.
Yeah.
I got two things left, because I would go 3 hours with you, like, easily. You just said you both believe that anybody can be the luckiest people in the world. So it's a broad question, but like, why do you believe that? And what is requisite in somebody to feel that blessed and lucky? Like, overall, like, key to life type advice. Well, I want you both to answer that one.
Well, people love to throw around the white privilege, and of course you think you're the lucky. I think people say that a lot before knowing somebody's story. For example, my father was exiled from Cuba when he was a small boy. So we really came.
And your mother.
Came from, but I mean, I didn't come from a silver spoon. Garrett, at the age of 7, was eating out of trash cans with a sheet on and no clothes. Like, it wasn't like we were handed anything. Like, him and I simply worked our butts off.
And we still do today.
And the thing, everybody asks, like, they ask our meeting story or whatever, and what it was. And the one thing about Garrett that I think my soul was so attracted to was he believes in every cell of his being that everything is possible. To this day, like, he believes that everything is possible. And it goes to what I was saying before too, that we are all pure potential. We're all born pure potential. And there's so many stories out there of people who have come from hell and created heaven. So yeah, it is possible to be the luckiest person in the world. And it's a mindset, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really about choices and surrounding yourself with the right people and making really good plans and following the plan, actually putting that pen to paper and making a very realistic plan and not being rigidly attached to it, but see it, focus on it, know it with all your heart and go for it. But if it goes a little to the left or to the right and it totally morphs into something else, just keep going with it. Don't be too rigidly attached. And it's eagles and the feather flock together. And where we really have been focusing on surrounding ourselves with expanders, for lack of a better word, and people that we aspire to be like or look up to, or something that we respect and admire and want to be part of. And that's where it all, that's how we've succeeded. First of all, our love and our we know and we feel and we know that we can do pretty much anything, but then it's all the people we surround ourselves with. It's 100% the people we surround ourselves with. They're either going to bring you up or bring you down all day, every day. You're going to waste time going down or put time in going up.
What if, last question, is there a point when enough's enough or not? I get asked that a lot, to be honest with you, and I wonder your life, like if you never met surfing, could you, is part of this key to life, finding something you truly love and spending your time doing it. But is there a point where enough's enough in life? And I think I know the answer to this, but a lot of people ask themselves that all the time, because we have become, you're in Italy, which is very different that way, but we've become a grind culture, as you know, right? Like grind, accumulate, show it off, spend it, flex it. That's a big, big part of culture. And when I look at the two of you, I sort of see the antithesis of that, in the sense that you're experiencing and expanding, and you just seem so much happier than the people that I know that spend most of their time accumulating, if that makes any sense. And I've made the mistake of doing some of that in my life. So is there a point where the way you are doing things, enough is enough? And do you feel like part of the key to it is what I just described?
I just think it comes down to asking yourself, instead of is enough enough, it's what are you contributing? And if you look at it that, like, you can contribute till the day you die. Yeah. So yeah, what are you contributing? You're right. We're living in this distorted culture of accumulation. Instead of contribution. What are you contributing?
That's a great.
What are you contributing to your family, to your spouse, to your friends, to your community, to the earth? Like, go out and heal the soil in your backyard instead of buying a new purse.
Instead of spraying Roundup.
I don't know. Yeah. So if we can change that cultural mindset of, instead of accumulation, what are you contributing? Then it'll never be enough, because you can always contribute.
Wow. I think that's the better answer than I gave to somebody when someone was asking me why I keep working so hard. But that is, no, you just
your answer?
You hit my heart right there. Like, that's literally why I'm doing this with you right now.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a financial.
And that's why we got on,
it.
and that's why we drove down the road, because it's, what are we contributing? This is
Just so you all know how precious these two beautiful souls are. We had a technical issue in the middle of this. We've had several, and they literally did me the honor of coming on the show today, but they also actually offered, we'll get in our car and drive down the road, find somewhere with better reception, and they've done that. So I have to tell you, it's one of the most remarkable conversations I've ever had. I'm immensely grateful for it. I'd be blessed if we became friends. I know millions of people are going to heal from this, by the way. I just said that, not a Freudian slip. And hear this. And so I just want to thank the two of you so much for today. I enjoyed it immensely, and I'm so grateful that we grinded through any obstacles that came our way today. So thank you.
We're equally as grateful and honored. So thank you very much.
You've just expanded us,
yes,
and we're on a different vibration right now. We were kind of down. We were down.
Having a rough day, and
you just brought us back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah. Well, that is more than mutual. By the way, everybody, you want to get expanded and entertained? 3rd season, 100-foot wave. There's no show like it in the world. Like, it's one of a kind, because I told you, these are two human beings that have done things no other human beings have done before. And so go on the journey with them. It's awesome. And check out Nazare. It's a very, very special place with these two special people too. So, all right, everybody, thanks for being here today. Share this one. Let's get everybody hearing from these two incredible human beings. God bless you, everybody. Max out.